The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Full Melt.
With regard to your the girls that you have in school in South Africa, and yourself, and society and culture in generally, what do you think about smoking weed? Are you smoking?
Actually, no. I haven't smoked weed in 30 years, really.
Now, I remember when I lived in California, years and years and years ago, and you could smoke an entire joint, and then you'd say, I'm kind of hungry. And that'd be it.
Yeah.
But now people tell me this stuff is one hit, and suddenly you're orbiting Neptune.
Really?
Yes, you're.
I'd be kind of scared of that.
Yeah, I'd be scared of it too.
If you had in the old days.
I had to quit. Because I tell you, I think I told you why I quit. One night, I find myself standing in front of the freezer. I ate 2 pints of ice cream. And I just said, well, this can't be good for anyone.
For me, it was a sleeve of Oreos. It was a sleeve of Oreos.
You ate the Oreos.
A sleeve of Oreos, man. You know, you're like, wow, I'm a little hungry.
It makes you feel dumb, the smoking the weed, you know? Made me... What do you think, boys?
Dad, open your eyes.
I have a great visual outlet.
With the decriminalization of marijuana on the rise, many young people are becoming more open with their toking habits. But what happens when mom or dad are the ones reeking of pot?
I smell so bad, I gotta go home and wash my hair.
On this episode of True Life, you'll meet 2 non-smokers who are trying to get their glassy-eyed parents to give their pipes a rest.
Can you go a week with no weed?
Well, I would say I could, but I wouldn't do it.
Brittany's a religious woman who's embarrassed by the fact that her father is one of Colorado's most vocal marijuana activists.
I am the most known black man in Colorado.
My preachers don't know you.
Will Brittany get her dad to accept the power of the Lord and quit smoking for good?
Amen.
I know it smells good, huh?
You're not gonna smoke that in here, though, right?
Heather's mom, Jo, smokes marijuana for medicinal purposes. But that doesn't mean she doesn't enjoy it. Now that Jo's moved in with Heather, will Heather be able to convince her mom to put down her beloved bong?
I'll come back to you, I promise.
And focus on her new grandson instead.
What's my rule number 1?
No smoking in front of the baby.
They've had enough of their parents' pot-fueled antics.
This is my jam. Every song that comes on is your jam.
Will they ever get them to stop lighting up?
That's what grandmas do.
This is what grandma does.
Find out next on True Life, My Parents Love Their Weed.
Isn't that a shame that a person can't really just open their eyes?
It's because you're high.
No, I'm high.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Hey, happy May 21st. 21st day of May 2015, and we've blown the doors open today. Blown the gates right off of the closet about parents and marijuana. It's a sticky subject. It's a sticky wicket. And the reason is, kind of obvious, isn't it? Anytime you tie parents and marijuana to children, you're going to start a fire. And there are going to be people with opinions, some of them preconceived, some of them thought through, some of them experienced, some of them not. We all have opinions. Our opinions are based on what we know, what we're familiar with, what we have access to, what is relative to us. Because if something isn't relative, we tune it out immediately. This is an age of instant gratification in this country. If you can't push a button and solve a problem, you're pissed. And when you're talking about a subject like marijuana in the first place, anything cannabis related, it's controversial. If you go to a place like San Francisco or many places in California, they've gotten over this. This is old hat for them. They still aren't politically solved on it because that's a bit of a stickier wicket. But as far as the subject matter goes, we're really not that interested. We've been immersed in this for 20 years. 21 now. And so today I wanted to talk about parents and marijuana in general, because at the front of the show there, you had two classic examples. You got baby boomers on one side of the fence. You got Oprah talking to David Letterman about pot. I haven't smoked pot in 30 years, says Oprah. Dave retorts to smoking the weed makes me feel stupid. It was years ago in California. I was eating a couple of buckets of ice cream and decided that I had to quit. Or, words to that effect. So these are casual, these are people from the baby boomer generation, part of the Say No to Drugs campaign. These people lived their careers through that era. And so we're turning the tide a little bit on the drug war itself and specifically on marijuana. And as we talk about this, there are many facets to this diamond. You've got that side, the Oprah, David Letterman side, the old school people. Those are both retired people now, so to speak. I'm sure they're still in business, but they're not working actively anymore at their careers. They're done with that. Then you've got the MTV generation. What's that? This Life? Is that what it's called? Talking about parents and pot, and that the kids aren't smoking the pot, but the parents are. There's the complete flip side to that coin, isn't there? And it's interesting to see the people watching Letterman go off the air, have Oprah on talking about weed, and what they're fascinated by. And then what the younger folks are fascinated by. Because it seems like in the light that MTV has painted this, at least on that series, that episode, which aired, I think on the 18th, a couple nights ago, we're radical kids and all that, but we're parents ourselves, and our parents are, they're pot smokers. And, boy, I really wish they'd put the pot down. You go out to the restaurant and you smell like some weed. You embarrass me, Mom. Put the bong down. That's what that whole episode was about. It's very entertaining, I have to say. But in a broader sense, everybody's losing the medical angle on this. It seems to me that the medical hammer has come down when you start talking about marijuana being mainstream. And so I wanted to also highlight the idea that, there's CPS when you're talking about medical marijuana patients where they don't have a choice in the matter. They've resorted to marijuana as a last resort. And whether it's for their kids or for themselves or for somebody else in the family home. And then they may have to grow that marijuana on their own. If they don't, they've certainly got to consume it somewhere, don't they? These people are debilitated in some way. And so what about the kids in the home? And what about their exposure to it? And you bring all these questions in place, and then the neighbor calls the cops, and the next thing you know, the CPS people are there yanking your kids away and searching the house, and this gets really crazy. So, pasting a broader picture on this subject are the people that have followed the whole Sanjay Gupta weed thing and the Stanley brothers out in Colorado making the Charlotte's Web, which was originally named after Charlotte Figge, which Sanjay featured in his program, and she was featured on another program, I think, on National Geographic Channel, which we'll come back to in a moment. But there's that whole angle on it, that there's a lot of kids with seizure disorders, and so the states have picked up on this. And even the conservative states that were like, look, we don't believe in a broader medical marijuana program yet as legislators. We're not going to buy that. We're not buying that game yet. You guys do that in your hippie states. We're not doing it here. But we saw the Sanjay Gupta thing. We saw the Weed 3 thing. We saw the story on the Stanley brothers. We've had some compelling stories brought into our offices by constituents that say, please give us this for our kids. First, it was people against marijuana because of kids. It's still the primary face that the prohibitionists paste on the marijuana message is, the kids. What about the kids? Don't forget about the kids. But now you've got the flip side of that, saying, look, the kids need the cannabis where they have these issues, and they're severe chronic, disabling issues. I hate to use those words because they're so beat up. They almost have no meaning anymore, at least in, my use. Get exposed to a chronic, debilitating condition, those three words in that order, a lot. But, then people see people going into dispensaries in California saying, hey, doc, it hurts when I do this. Maybe I can get some marijuana. Yeah, here's a prescription, or here's a recommendation. Here's your card. Bingo, bango, blammo, walking out with the weed. And there's some backlash. This is not medical, is it? You see, there's all these different facets. So today I wanted to invite you onto the program to talk about this from your standpoint. If you're a parent and have to deal with marijuana in your life, whether it's recreationally or medically, and there's, you got children under the age of 18 or 17 in the house, you got youngsters in the house, and how do you deal with that? How do you cope with that? In fact, we got a couple of minutes before the first break hits, and then we've got a guest coming on. Who was featured in a National Geographic clip, about a 20-minute clip, talking about parents moving to Colorado or finding ways of obtaining CBD oil, most of them by moving to Colorado or finding some connection to Colorado. And so there's an interesting piece that I'd like to play for that. But let's engage the phones right now. We've got a couple of people on the line. Let's see who we have and what they have to say about parents and marijuana. Hello, you're on the Full Melt Show. Can you hear me? Hello, are you there?
Hello.
Are you a parent have a concern about marijuana?
Yes, actually, I'm a parent of a 6-year-old little boy who is currently a medical marijuana user.
Okay. And so the 6-year-old boy has a condition. I take it's probably seizure disorder, I'm guessing?
Yes, he has Dravet syndrome.
Okay. And so for people who are not familiar with Dravet syndrome, can you give it a brief description?
Severest to rarest form of epilepsy that there is. It is very resistant to most traditional forms of treatment.
So the medication that they've been prescribed has not been effective traditionally or in actual use in your case?
No, it hasn't. My son is allergic to almost all anti-epileptic drugs.
Listen.
And
we're the break's about to hit and the music's going to start. I don't want to get confused by that. Can you tell me real quick where you're calling from?
I'm in Michigan.
You're in Michigan? Okay, so
yeah.
If you want to hang on through the break, because I'm going to bring a guest on who you could probably relate to, and we'll introduce them. But if you want to stick on the phone with us, I'd like to bring you back on and have you guys talk together. Would that be okay? Can you hear me? Hang on for 1 second. She can't hear me now because the music's blaring in her ears. So we're going to go to break. I'm going to put her on hold so she can hear us. There we go. Oops, hang on. We'll be right back with more. This is the Full Melt Show. Stand by.
You're getting the Full Melt.
It's not easy out there, but it can be easier. And when it comes to medical marijuana in Michigan and chronic pain management, Dr. Bob Townsend, renowned for his patient advocacy and deep understanding of how patients and medical marijuana certifications fit together, makes it his hallmark to educate and provide the best holistic treatment for your condition. His knowledgeable staff makes you feel warm and welcome, and Dr. Bob makes you feel well. With locations across the state in Cadillac and Gaylord, Kalamazoo, Marquette, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Saginaw, Traverse City, you can't beat the convenience and feeling you get knowing you have someone on your side that cares. Denali Healthcare is on the web at denalihealthcaremi.com. Get answers to your holistic health questions or schedule an appointment now by calling 989-339-4464. Chronic pain management and holistic health answers is what they do. It's all they do. DenaliHealthcareMI.com. Get your certification and peace of mind now by making an appointment with Dr. Bob Townsend at 989-339-4464.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Canalock.com. Visit Canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to this society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want
the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
This is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies. We're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN.
Does your dog or cat suffer with joint disorders, arthritis, anxiety, cancer, chronic pain, or other ailments? Hemp or cannabis-based medicinal products are now legal. Why should your pets go without the same options that we have available? Try Sativus, a daily hemp oil with CBD. Sativus is quality inspected and made in the USA. Easy-to-use drops are applied directly to your pet's food. For your pet's wellness, try Sativus drops. Ask for Sativus at your local pet store or learn more at petpain.com.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. The aches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio Show.
Okay, so we're talking about children and marijuana, and I've got an interesting story that I saw in the National Geographic today. Actually, I saw the post through the Huffington Post on one of their articles. They had mentioned a story about this subject that we're talking about today. And there was a nice 20-minute video piece featuring parents and children with this issue. And so our guest will be on the phone as soon as we can get him on the phone. There was a misunderstanding about the phone number. His name is Penn Maddison. And so I'm going to play a piece while I get Penn on the phone, because I reached the wrong number. Penn's corrected the number. And this is from the beginning of that 20-minute episode. I'm just going to play a bit of it while I get Penn on the phone. But got to pull up the right thing here first. Where am I at here? Here we go. I hope this doesn't screw with the audio of the show, because sometimes that'll tend to happen. Let's just see if we can get this to work. Make this sound go up, and here we go.
It's a scary, rewarding, wonderfully annoying journey.
We're living in this archaic moment right now where state legislatures are providing parents with access, but not to consistent products, not necessarily to the safest products.
It just brings so much relief and such a weight off your shoulders. And just to know, yeah, she's going to be okay and this is working.
We are crossing the Rockies in the covered wagon. I'm standing next to you, but, you know, this is new territory. Nobody has seen what CBD does to a child for 20 years.
We weren't concerned about the stigma that came along with it. Our main concern was taking care of our daughter and our family the best way that we could.
The science of cannabis has really evolved over the last 40 years, and we understand a lot about the biology. Cannabidiol is the non-psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, and since it is non-psychoactive, one feels the potential harm is going to be much less. And since some of these children had truly devastating epilepsies, in which the seizures and the high doses of many drugs that doctors like myself were prescribing caused really tremendous problems for these children.
The first thing I tell people is, you are a unique individual. Your chemistry is unique to you. You could have the same exact diagnosis as the last guy that walked in here, but you may respond differently to a different strain of cannabis, a different dose of cannabis, a different method of using it.
I don't know the answer, and I don't think anybody else knows the answers. There's this crazy dissociation between what's happening at a federal level of incredible restriction on safe things and a state level where it's a little bit of the Wild West.
And it is the Wild West. So I wanted to play that little bit for you because it gives you at least some feel for what the subject matter is and how National Geographic covered this, because they did a really good job of it. I'm not sure that this aired on television. So far, I've only seen this online. But perhaps I can ask our guests. Our guest, again, is Penn Maddison. And let's get him on the phone. Penn, you're in Colorado, am I correct?
Yes, I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
And you are not originally from there, I can tell by your southern drawl.
You'd be correct. I grew up in a small town in Mississippi and moved here from Nashville, Tennessee.
So you lived in Nashville?
Correct.
How long did you live in Nashville? We
were in Nashville about 7 years.
Okay, so I take it you had your child while you were in Nashville.
We did. We had her through the midwifery program over at Vanderbilt University.
Okay, so now did you plan on moving when you were living in Tennessee? Was that in your cards? Did you kind of put roots down there?
Well, yeah, we had moved to Nashville. We had put roots down there. We had a good school. We were involved in a good church there. I owned a landscape business that was thriving in Nashville, so we were very comfortable there. It was a good city. I have a lot of friends there. We've got family there, so we were very comfortable. It was a place that we called home, no doubt.
So you weren't planning on moving? It wasn't in the cards?
No. We were settled. We liked it there.
And then you had a child, and your child developed or at least presented with a terrible condition. To pick it up from there, tell us what happened in a nutshell from there.
Well, in a nutshell, I mean, Millie was born almost full term. You know, we knew something was wrong pretty quickly. She didn't cry, a few things like that, but nothing. We weren't prepared for what was coming. She developed infantile spasms and intractable epilepsy at about 3 months when she was diagnosed. And so, we started the ball rolling there with anti-epilepsy medicines, running every test we could do. We tried different specialists in different states, and the answer that we kept getting from our doctors and our specialists were that they had never seen anything like it. To this day, Millie is a little over 3 years old. We still have no diagnosis. No one can figure out what's wrong with her, what's causing the epilepsy or anything like that.
And so along the way, you ran out of options. The medication was being prescribed. I take it they were probably changing different medications, trying to find things that would be more effective or adding to the regimen.
Yeah, the problem with Millie, we got started on the ketogenic diet pretty quickly. We were on 4 different medications pretty quickly. She was not growing at all. She was not gaining any weight. She was comatose, slept 23 hours a day. Then the keto diet kind of took a bad turn, and she developed metabolic acidosis, and she had a lot of water weight. Her body was shutting down. And, almost 2 years ago, this past July, we did a 3 or 4 month stint in ICU in Vanderbilt, where Nicole and I had come to the point where we were beginning to make final arrangements for Millie. We couldn't figure out anything else to do. Nothing was working. And when I say nothing was working. No one could figure out what was going on. And so we were just at a standstill. I mean, we had nothing else left to try. And the doctors had given us a 0.1% chance that she would survive, that she would do anything. We asked them about cannabis, and they shot it down very quickly. Just told us that they knew nothing about it, that it wasn't something that they would even really look into. So they weren't very open-minded about it. Our neurologist at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, she told us basically that she was not familiar with it. She had not researched it, but at this point, she would, if it was her child, she would do what she felt was best. And she kind of left it at that.
So, what did you do then? What were you say you were left without options?
So what we did, when we left that appointment, and by the time we had gotten to the Kentucky-Ohio line, we had already made plane reservations to travel up to Colorado because we knew she had doubled her medication. It was Sabril. She was taking, at this point, she had doubled it to 2,000 milligrams per day, which is basically what a large, full-size man would take. And it wasn't working. And the medicine, I think, was, at the time, was $30,000 a box. We were going through 2 boxes a month, not seeing any results. And so within 2 weeks, we were on a plane out to Colorado just to do so. We had been researching it. We had caught the Sanjay Gupta story weeds when Millie was in ICU. And so we decided to come out. So
you're familiar. You're familiar then with the Charlotte Figge story. That's what caught your eye about this then?
Yeah, exactly. So we were just kind of left hopeless at the hospital. I came home one night late and caught the last 5 minutes of it. And I called Nicole, my wife, and just said, "Hey, we got to check this out. We don't. There's nothing to lose at this point, so let's give it a go."
So you got on a plane, went to Colorado. What did you expect when you were heading out there? That there would be an answer? I mean, was this just a guessing game at that point? I mean, it seems like you placed all of your eggs in a basket for your child and ran.
We had done a lot of research. We had talked to a lot of parents. We learned early on that, the doctors, kind of had a plan that they stuck by. There was really no thinking outside the box. So we had been doing a lot of research for a year. We had talked to some families that said that they had had some success. We had talked to some families that said they had not had success. And so we brought Millie out. We met with a couple of doctors out here. They seemed fairly certain that maybe we would see some success. And so we rented a place on the spot, set up residency, got her red card, flew back to Tennessee, packed our stuff up, sold the business for pennies on the dollar, and moved to Colorado.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when you got there, I mean, like I said, you didn't know what to expect. I mean, you got out there, and what happened next? I mean, what was the next step for you? Were you already in touch with people that were able to connect you with answers or at least some relief?
Well, we were in touch with the Realm of Caring Foundation. At that time, they didn't have a wait list like they had just a couple months after we got here. But they kind of helped us get acclimated. We started Millie on THCA immediately when we got out here, and we probably saw about a 10-15% reduction in seizures right off the bat. She was a little bit more alert. We were trying to get her off the pharmaceuticals, or some of the pharmaceuticals anyway, that were just comatosing her. And about a month and a half later, we got we started on the Charlotte's Web. And I would say within, just a matter of time, we probably saw a 75 to 90% reduction in seizures. The great thing about the cannabis product, Dave, for us is that we have gotten Millie off every pharmaceutical except for the Sabril, and she is only getting a very small dose of the Sabril twice a day now. And honestly, we've got her at such a good spot, we're scared to take it away, but I honestly think we could take it away.
So now, when I guess it sounds like you found an answer then. I mean, in the long run, in the end, you found an answer, and you said you noticed some immediate relief. Did it change over time? Because you've been there, 6, 8, 10 months now, a year? How long has it been?
We've been here about 15 months at this point. We've been on Charlotte's Well for about 14 months. And we have not seen anything but positive results. It took us about a year to really kind of nail it down and figure out exact dosing for Millie and to wean her off her pharmaceuticals. But we are now seeing weeks at a time where we're not having any seizures. You know, I wouldn't say it's a drawback, but we have, when we do have seizures, sometimes the seizures can be a little bit more difficult. They can be a bit more violent. But I think one thing that makes it more violent for her is that she actually feels the seizure now. It used to be where Millie really didn't have any sort of cognitive recollection of what was going on. I mean, when she would get an IV, she wouldn't even flinch. Now she gets an IV and she'll cry out a little bit. She feels it. She has a seizure, she'll cry out a little bit because she knows what's going on. She holds her head up on her own now. She sits up on her own now, and not for a long time, but it's a lot better than her just lying on the ground. She gets fed through a G-tube, so she's not eating with her mouth, but she has other underlying issues that we're dealing with. But our theory was that we couldn't begin to tackle any of her other issues until we got the seizures under control.
Because they overlapped everything, didn't they? I mean, the seizures prevented you from accessing her in any other way.
Yeah, and I mean, it absolutely did. It crippled her to the point where we could not do anything else with her because the seizures were 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There were days that she would literally seize all day and all night long. And we might, there were some days, a good day, we would get relief maybe 10 hours a day. And we'd still have seizures 14 hours a day.
Listen, Penn, we're coming on a commercial break here. We've got some people that would like to talk to you about this subject. Can you hang on through the break with us and continue this conversation? Terrific. Hang on. We'll be right back with more about this next. Hang on.
You're getting the full melt.
It started with Weed 1.
Some have called it a watershed moment.
Then came Weed 2.
It's absurd that we would have to do this to get medicine.
Now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is at it again, and he's reaching higher than ever with Weed 3.
I never thought I would be smoking weed in the hospital.
The movement behind it.
We demand this plant go through the process of the FDA.
The radical research.
I have to say I'm kind of stunned.
Weed 3, the marijuana revolution.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry, cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com and featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Canalock.com. Visit Canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Does your dog or cat suffer with joint disorders, arthritis, anxiety, cancer, chronic pain, or other ailments? Hemp or cannabis-based medicinal products are now legal. Why should your pets go without the same options that we have available? Try Sativus, a daily hemp oil with CBD. Sativus is quality inspected and made in the USA. Easy-to-use drops are applied directly to your pet's food. For your pet's wellness, try Sativus drops. Ask for Sativus at your local pet store or learn more at petpain.com.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. that aches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. So we're talking about parents and marijuana. And, you know, the subject is really wide. But at the moment we're featuring about medical marijuana and the effects that it has on the community where you've got parents and children with seizures. And these seizures aren't just necessarily a kid-related issue. There are adults who have these seizures. It just seems that these seizures disorders that are so severe that they sometimes end lives very shortly. So the adults using the marijuana for seizure disorders many times are a great deal fewer than the children. Would that be a correct assessment in your opinion?
Yeah, I can honestly say that if we would not have started cannabis therapies, I do not believe we would have our daughter with us today. I firmly believe that.
Now, when you got to, it had to be some culture shock when you got there. When you got to Colorado, because you came from very conservative places. You say you grew up in Missouri, you were living in Nashville. This is the heart of Bible country. Very negative messaging towards marijuana, especially in those places, yes?
Well, yeah. So I grew up in Mississippi and moved to
Mississippi.
Tennessee.
Right.
But equally as conservative.
Correct.
My wife and I aren't, I wouldn't really label ourselves as conservative or liberal. I think we're very open-minded people. We want to do what's best for our children. We want to do what's best for our family. And so, moving out to Colorado it was definitely a different ball game for us. We were Southern folk who had kind of set our lives. I mean, I'm almost 40 years old. My wife is almost 35. We've got 3 kids, 2 older boys. And so, yeah, it was a tough move for us. It was an easy decision, but it's not what we would have done in any other circumstance.
Lisa from Michigan, you've been hanging on the phone for a while. You told us about your child with the intractable epilepsy, yes? Is that the situation? It's Dravet syndrome, yes.
And which is intractable epilepsy, and he also has autism.
All right, and so you can relate to the story that our guest is talking about today, yes?
Yes, I can.
You guys, you have to be familiar with the organization called The Rock, the Realm of Caring.
Yes. I've read about it and I know about it, but I'm not affiliated with it.
Have you ever thought of having to reach out to them? Now, you're in Michigan, so we have some access here, but marijuana oil's been an issue in Michigan, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I never even thought about anything in Colorado. I've read the stories and seen the posts here and there, but I prefer to search out my own options.
Our guest is Penn Maddison in Colorado Springs. Is that correct?
Correct.
Penn, can you tell us about the Rock of the Realm of Caring?
Yeah, so the Realm of Caring is an organization that's a nonprofit that I believe was started by Paige Figge and Heather Jackson. Both of their children, I think Charlotte was the first young lady that had tried Charlotte's Well. Zakai is Heather's son. He was the second child, I believe, to try Charlotte's Well. Both of those children are relatively seizure-free at this point. It has worked really well for them. So they were kind of our primary guinea pigs. It gave these children their lives back. It gave these parents their children back. And so I think they felt so strongly about it that they wanted to reach out and help others. The Realm of Caring seems to be affiliated with Stanley Brothers through the Charlotte's Well product. But in reality, the Realm of Caring is not a Stanley Brothers affiliated. They are a nonprofit that really wants to help everyone and anyone with any product that they have, they are more familiar with Charlotte's Web than any other product, but are doing research and studies and trying to gather as much information as they can on really every product out there, whether it's CBD, THCA, THC, so forth and so on.
Incidentally, scheduled on the program coming up on Tuesday, we'll be featuring the CEO of the Realm of Caring. And so she'll be on the program to talk about their organization and what they do in a little bit broader detail.
Oh, fantastic.
So for those who are interested in this subject, next Tuesday, 7:15 is when she'll be on. The program is on live at 7 o'clock Eastern. Lisa, did you have something that you wanted to say about parents and marijuana? And I wanted to ask both of you about the CPS issue, because it seems like, Child Protective Services in many states seem to be very aggressive about parents when you talk about marijuana. Can you each share us a little bit about your opinion or your feelings about that, or maybe your experience with them if you've had it? I'll ask Lisa first.
Actually, I haven't had any experience with CPS, and I'm hoping that I don't.
It has to have concerned you, yes?
Yes, it does concern me. NOAA is licensed in the state of Michigan, but it still could pose an issue.
How old is Noah, can I ask?
He'll be 6 next week.
And this has been a problem all of his life?
Yes, he's had epilepsy and autism all his life.
All right. And so is this a problem that's been solved with you through CBD at this point? Do you have an answer for this at the moment?
Actually, NOAA benefits a little bit better through THC, THCA versus CBD.
Okay.
He still does get CBD, but it's in a lower ratio than the THC.
Now, that's a little bit of a newer subject for me, the THCA issue with regards to this specific condition. I noticed in the National Geographic piece that was featured, that I was talking about earlier in the program, they started talking about THCA and a company that makes some products similar to the Charlotte's Web category, but it's not just confined to CBD. They have the THCA component. Can you share with people who are unfamiliar with it, like I am, what the two things are, how they're different? Well, I mean, from an effect standpoint, I mean, I'm not asking for a scientific opinion or an analysis. I'm just saying from the standpoint of a therapeutic thing. I take it you tried CBD, yes, Lisa? Have you tried the CBD before, just by itself?
Yes, I did try my son's oil just to make sure that I knew it was going to do what it was supposed to do. I hope that other parents out there have tried the oil before they've given it to their children.
Sure.
Just to make sure.
It's a natural thing. But I'm saying, just using the CBD oil alone as a therapy for him was that didn't seem to be completely effective. And then at some point you were exposed to the THCA thing. That's what I'm looking at. What made the transition there, and what pointed you in that direction? Because I don't know. I'm asking like anybody else would.
Well, like the THC and the THCA actually calm him down more, and the CBD helps fight the seizures.
Okay, I see.
So it's like a combination. What we really need is whole plant legislation, where all the components of the plant are being used to control seizures and help with behaviors and conditions that children would benefit from.
Again, what Dr. Gupta would refer to as the entourage effect.
The entourage effect?
Yes, where all the components of the whole plant work together collectively.
Yes. Yes.
Would you agree, sir?
Absolutely. I am. I'm actually not a fan at all of CBD-only legislation. I think what you're doing is taking away components of a plant or a product that can be beneficial to patients. You know, every patient is different. Our chemistry makeup in the body differs from one person to another. I mean, it's the same thing as going into the hospital and them prescribing, say, Benadryl. Well, it may have a paradoxical effect on one child, but it may not have the same effect on another. Example, if I took it Benadryl tends to make me very hyper, whereas if my wife takes it seems to knock her out. These children are no different on cannabis products. Every kid is going to benefit differently from different products, and every disease, every illness is benefits differently from others. So, one kid may get, Millie is on 3 different products. We use CBD, we use THCA, and then we also use THC as needed for her. The THC is a rescue drug that we use if we ever need it, or if she ever has anxiety, things like that, we'll give her a little bit of THC to calm her down. So I'm 100% for what I think people call full plant or whole plant legislation. Now, let me be clear, though. I tend to be, I am a grower. I've worked for the Stanley Brothers for a year, and I'm a stay-at-home dad now. But, we use, CBD is a whole plant therapy. We grew a plant. We used the plant just like you would as the THC plant. The THC had just been bred out of this plant. So it still contained, your different cannabinoids and your terpenes and things like that. So you're still getting the benefit of those. It just doesn't have the THC in it.
It was curbed down on the THC, probably to take the high effect away from kids. I don't know. I don't understand the theory behind that, though, because it seems to me if a kid breaks a bone, he's going to go to the doctor, and they're probably going to give him something for pain, and it's probably going to make him a little high. The objection to me seems silly. Outside of the other issues, bear with me. We're hitting a break again. Can you guys both hang on?
Absolutely.
Yes? Okay. All right, stand by. We're coming back after the break to talk more about parents, marijuana, and kids, and the subject of CPS and police, and what you can do to get involved if you have this issue in your family or in your life. Hang on, we'll be right back.
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry, cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com and featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
It started with Weed 1.
Some have called it a watershed moment.
Then came Weed 2.
It's absurd that we would have to do this to get medicine.
Now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is at it again, and he's reaching higher than ever with Weed 3.
I never thought I would be smoking weed in the hospital.
The movement behind it.
We demand this plant go through the process of the FDA.
The radical research.
I have to say, I'm kind of stunned.
Weed 3, the marijuana revolution.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to this society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
This is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies. We're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN. It's the Full Melt Radio Show. The Full Melt Radio Show airs Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to call the program and get involved. You might be able to squeeze in a comment. We lost a few callers during the break. I wanted to talk to those parents about their issues. So if you get a chance, call back, 844-420-TALK. Look, I asked Lisa about it. Let me ask you, what about this issue of CPS? Was CPS an issue for you when you got out to Colorado?
No, we've never had any problems with CPS. I mean, we really did our due diligence and made sure that we kind of dotted our I's and crossed our T's to make sure that this would not be an issue. But I can tell you that if it would have been an issue, we would have fought it tooth and nail. We firmly believe in what we're doing. We did it with passion. And we had what we felt like was an incredible reason to pursue cannabis as a medicine. And so we're glad we did.
Lisa, we've only got a couple minutes left in the program, and I didn't want to leave you out if you had something else that you wanted to contribute. Before you go, is there anything else you wanted to say about this subject? Because I know this is very important to you and Noah and other parents like you. Lisa, are you there? Oh, we might have lost her. Looks like we lost Lisa. Hello, are you there, Lisa? I think we lost Lisa. I don't know what happened. I guess, where is this going? It seems like there's a lot of work yet left to be done in this place, isn't there? Not only in Colorado, but in other places.
There's an incredible amount of work to be done, but I think the general public has taken this issue, and I think their minds are beginning to change. It's the legislators that seem to be hung up on the issue to me. I don't understand quite why they're not listening to their constituents and giving them what they want. I don't know if it's a money issue where they can't figure out how to get their hands in it or what it is, but it infuriates me that, they would walk in and they'll say, well, you can have this component of the plan, but you can't have this component because we're scared that they may, quote unquote, get high. My daughter is in such a shape that even if she did get a little bit of a buzz, it is nothing compared to the buzz she was getting from the 8 anti-epilepsy drugs that she was getting. Well,
these are very, very potent sedatives, aren't they?
They're incredibly potent sedatives. And, I was watching the National Geographic, and there was a woman on there that was talking about how we don't know the side effects of this drug 20 years from now. We don't have 20 years. We're not concerned about what happens 20 years. We're concerned about what happens now.
Well, you said at the beginning of this program you did not know if your child was going to live. You were making arrangements for the end of her life, and that's completely changed at this point, hasn't it?
Completely changed. We lived in the hospital the first 2 years of her life, and we have made very, very few hospital stays, and none of the hospital stays that we make now have anything to do with her epilepsy. It's because of a respiratory virus or something like that she'll catch, and which will, with just flu or RSV or something like that.
You have bigger fish to fry other than whether or not my kid's getting high.
We're to the point now where seizures really aren't even on our radar anymore. We don't think about the seizure like we used to. We're thinking about other things such as cognitive skills and therapies and things like that to improve her quality of life. The seizures at this point are fairly under control.
And you have to credit that to the CBD and THCA therapy? Is that it's our whole plant medicine?
It's absolutely the cannabis medicines that have helped us out. We wouldn't be here without them. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. We had tried every epilepsy medicine out there. Nothing had worked. We were still having, on an average, probably 500 to 700 seizures a day. On a bad day, we have, 11, 12, 1,300 seizures.
You have to have been put in touch with a lot of other people like you. Is there a support group amongst parents with children with seizure disorders?
Yeah, if you get on Facebook, there are a lot of groups. If you'll do some research, the one thing that frustrates me a little bit is that some of the negative information that comes out, information that's not factually accurate. A lot of these parents, for whatever reason, I think we would be a lot better off if we would work together instead of work against each other. Some people, for whatever reason, and I'm sure they have their reasoning, just don't like some of these groups that are out there or whatnot. But I can tell you we'd get a whole lot further, a lot faster if we would come together and work as a solid unit instead of a divisive unit.
Although this is an extremely rare condition, these situations that give children seizures, because there are a number of conditions. But it seems it affects a lot of people, a great number of people, despite that it's a small segment of the population, that it's only a few percent.
You're right. I mean, first of all, for a child like ours, it's expensive. It affects our whole family. I mean, we've got 2 boys that it affects greatly. I mean, they really don't have a sense of normalcy in their life because of the attention and care that we have to give to Millie, but they understand it.
Well, having to move to Colorado from Tennessee must have been a terrible uproot for them.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, we're actually, I'm at the hospital right now. Millie is in ICU at the hospital right now. She's got para-influenza and bronchiolitis. Oh. And, I spend 24 hours a day here. We have no family here to help us out. We have some friends, but the friends that we have here have children just like ours, so they can't really come help us out.
Because they're in need of the same support.
Yeah, it's been very trying on us. It's very complicated. And our financial situation has changed dramatically because we've left our main source of income behind in Tennessee to come out here and to take care of Millie. And I'm glad we did, though. I wouldn't have it any other way.
There has to be some financial opportunity for you out there in Colorado, though. Yes, you said you were working with the Stanley Brothers for the past year?
I did. I worked with the Stanley Brothers, growing for them for a year, and my wife had not worked in 3 years, and so I think she was ready to get back to work. So I came home. I'm a stay-at-home dad now, and she is actually working for the Realm of Caring herself.
Well, that's terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, congratulations on that. At least so you're all in at this point, not only at work but at home as well.
We're all in. Yeah, we believe. I believe in this product more so than any product or anything I've probably in my 38 years. I'm all in. We believe in this thing, and we will fight for this thing as hard as we can.
It's not just the issue that your child suffers from, or the seizures issue. But in this National Geographic piece, they also had parents with a brain disorder, glioma. It's a cancer. It's a brain cancer. Did you see that part?
I did. I think what we are finding out is that this is not an epilepsy issue. And I noticed that Texas had passed a bill, and Tennessee, our home state, has passed a bill.
Florida.
It limits it just to epilepsy.
Right.
This product can help patients with cancer, HIV, glaucoma, MS, Crohn's disease. This covers the gamut. I think what you're going to see in the next 10 years is that CBD, THCA, and a lot of these other cannabinoids are going to become somewhat of a multivitamin. I think people are going to take them as a health supplement to increase their life, to give them a better life.
It seems that there are a lot of people leaning in that direction, but it seems also, would you say, I have to ask you this, would you say that the recreational aspect of marijuana in Colorado has taken over the medical aspect and kind of trampled it a little bit, hasn't it?
No, I disagree, actually. I read a study not too long ago that since they made marijuana legal here in Colorado recreationally, that only 5% of the population that had not tried marijuana before it went recreational has tried it today. So I think what you're seeing in every state is that the people who use marijuana recreationally are already using it. Recreational laws are only going to give them a safe access and a safe place to do it so that they don't have to worry about prosecution. But I think from a medical standpoint, it gives parents like ourselves the opportunity to be parents and do what we feel like is absolutely best for ourselves and our children.
Penn, we only got about 30 seconds left. If people want to get involved, if people want to, do something with the realm of caring, is there a way that they can get a hold of them? I can ask this of Heather, too, but I figured I'd give you a chance.
Yeah, well, the Realm of Caring has a website, and I think it's Realm of Caring. They can Google that. There's all sorts of ways to get involved. And then, I'm on Facebook also at Penn Maddison. And my wife and we help people all over the world. We are contacted almost daily.
Thanks for coming on.
That show is a production of TFM Media.